Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's been a few days since I did my last video, but here we are again. We have 2 more videos left to finish off the Season 4 guides, and then we'll do some other things later. I have been asked to do a guide on all 3 of the bosses that can occur on Lower Karazhan for the first boss. So I will do that later on as well. So we've got Mechagon Workshop today, and then we've got Iron Docks in a few days' time to finish off Season 4's guides. Again, if you like the videos, give it a like, give it a comment, tell me what I can do better, tell me what I did well. Well, without further ado, we're going to go in for the tips and tricks of Workshop. Now, there are a lot of little things that you can do. Recently, they changed the percentage of infiltrators, so the affix for the season, in Workshop specifically. So you either have to skip a bunch of slimes at the beginning after the first boss, or you skip the last pack before the last boss with a death skip, or with a Warlock Gate portal. Now, I don't have any footage of actually how to do the Warlock Gate skip, but I will show you effectively what it is, and then I'll explain different things you can do to make this as smooth of a run as possible. So, let's get to it, guys. We're going to go over for a plus 216 over here. We're going to start off, I'm going to grab the haste buff. Now, the first thing you're going to see me do is I'm going to walk there by myself. Now, this is the #1 thing you want to start off with in every workshop. The tank will solo the first set of mobs. Now, the reason why is because the tank can take all of the rockets that these mobs spawn, and the way the rockets work is they spawn on individual players within range. So if you're the only person in range, they will spawn on top of you where all the mobs will be. Now, these rockets affect everything. So friendly players and enemy players. So as you can see, I'm just slowly kiting around it, and all these rockets are going to start clipping and hitting all these mobs. Now, you would like to kill them in one iteration of the rockets, but at a certain key level, it just won't do as much damage. So I'm going to wait for the next rockets to come in. Hopefully they go along. For some reason they didn't. So I'm just going to slowly kill these and wait for the rocket tonk to cast again. Now, unfortunately, it is bolstering week this week, so these rockets do get a little bit more health. But as you can see, we're just going to finish them off. Going to grip that in there, and then the boss will spawn. Now, that only took 1 minute. Usually when I average about less than a minute max, and that will be so much quicker than if your whole group comes along and the rockets are just flying everywhere. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start off with the first boss, which is Tussle Tonks, which is going to be No Mercy and the Platinum Pummeler. Now, you're going to see at the start of the fight there are going to be a bunch of hammers around the room. There are 4 of them in the drone here, or the dome here, sorry. You've got No Mercy, which is going to charge at the tank. So the tank wants to be able to charge it directly under a hammer if possible, and the hammer will keep slamming. The only way the hammer deactivates and breaks is if it slams the Platinum Pummeler. Now, the Pummeler, as you can see above its head, has 3 stacks. This means this will not take any damage or very minimal damage until all 3 stacks are removed. The way to remove a stack is to break one of the hammers by placing this boss under the hammer. Now, you want to, there are 2 different ways you can do it. Because it has 3 stacks, you can either use this first hammer to continuously hit the No Mercy and deal a tiny bit of damage, I'm pretty sure it does. Or you can wait and break all 3, and then you can put No Mercy on the last one, if you want to. But as soon as this hammer, one of the hammers hits this Platinum Pummeler, it will break regardless of if it has a stack of its buff or not. So we're going to place it over here. The Platinum Pummeler is only going to do 1 ability, which is Whirling Edge. So you want to make sure that you are not in melee range of it, otherwise you're going to get sliced up. Now, when No Mercy comes around from getting smacked into the wall, it's going to start charging at the nearby person. It's going to lift them up just like that. It's going to yeet me away. It's going to place mines down on the ground as well. You want to dodge those, they're right up here. And it's going to start casting an ability called Vent Jets. Now, Vent Jets is going to put fire in front and to the sides of it, which means melee, you can comfortably attack on the back of the No Mercy. The only thing you have to be very careful of is anybody that dies, if you're targeted by No Mercy, it will switch to another person, or if anybody feign deaths, invises somehow, or anything like that, it will turn around, and that will kill your group. So if you're a hunter or a mage or a rogue, and you're getting chased by this, do not invis or feign death. You will kill someone who is behind there, and there is no need to. You just have to kite it away. It's going to do a lot of AoE damage, so the healer needs to be focusing on healing. You cannot just stand there and attack it. Make sure you're healing this damage, because it is not easy to heal, especially at a high level. Again, you're going to dodge these bombs. They stay stationary. Don't touch them. I'm going around and making sure this debuff, this buff goes away. Now you're going to see there's a bunch of blades that are coming around. These lines dictate where the blades go. So as long as you're dead center in the middle of these shapes here, I was going to say squares, but they're not really. All equal sides. But I guess you can just call them squares. Make sure you're in the middle of them, because the hitbox of these blades are a little bit bigger than you would think. You would think they'd be as thin as the line, but they're actually quite large. So if you're even a little bit to the left or the right, or to either side, you will just still get knocked in. And if you get knocked by these blades, the blade itself doesn't do that much damage, but it can knock you into a vent jet or into a bomb, and then that pretty much ends up killing you. So that's what you want to be careful of. Now, all of this stuff just repeats. It'll just keep repeating. You've got the thrust. See, I'm aiming it at the next hammer, straight towards the hammer, and then the hammer's going to start breaking it down. There we go. Alright, so 0 plating on the platinum pummeler now, and now we can just cleave them down comfortably. That's pretty much the fight. I'm just gonna play the whole thing through. I'm not gonna skip anything, just so you can see how people deal with things. As you can see, one of our rogues accidentally got yeeted into something, and I think took a blade into a bomb. So that wasn't ideal, but that is what happens, which is what I explained a few minutes ago. Which is an unfortunate circumstance. Now that thrust isn't going straight into the hammer there, which is mispositioned by me. And yes, before people ask in the comments, I am playing Night Fae Blood DK. It is very good right now. It is currently, I think, on par or even a little bit better than Kyrian, honestly, because there's not really many things you need to use the Kyrian file for in the dungeons this tier. So if you would like to try Night Fae, I highly suggest you give it a go. I'm really enjoying it so far. And yeah, it's a really fun change, having the blue D&D, which is what I initially started playing in PTR when Shadowlands was first announced. So I'm glad I could go back to blue D&D and not have to use Kyrian so much, because let's be honest, Bron coming out at the worst possible time is extremely annoying in a lot of situations. So we're going to kill the platinum pummeler now. I'm going to go down. You can res at this point, or release. You'll get released at the bottom of this little slide here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a 3 pull here. So it's going to be 2 of these big machine boys, and then 1 infiltrator as well. So let's see what they're called again. Processing units, that's it. So 2 processing units, and this mechanic is going to turn into an infiltrator. So all you need to worry about here is the frontal from the infiltrator, the sleep bubble from the sleep pull on the infiltrator, and then you got these abilities called process waste, which does a little frontal funnel, as you can see. It's like a little cone in front of it. It will target where the tank is, so just make sure you're facing away. As you can see, mega drills going off as well. It's a big circle. It gives you a long time to get out of it. Don't stand in it, you will die. As you can see, our rogue almost got 1 shot there, but luckily it's only a 16 and it's tyrannical. So any other case, if it's fortified or if it's in a little bit higher of a key, that rogue would have died straight away. But that's okay. You just want to be safe. Now, this is one of the routes that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, where from this point on, we're skipping all of the slimes. Now, in the case that you don't want to skip the slimes and you want to do them, the reason why I'm skipping it this week is purely for the fact that it's bolstering and it is explosive. And it is absolutely stupid to do these on that week, because it just makes things harder for no reason. They're just going to bolster the mobs that are around it, and it's just going to be annoying. So what we're going to do here is we're going to skip everything. If you want to know what these guys do, the living wastes, when you kill them, they will explode after a few seconds. All you need to do is make sure your LOS, so line of sight behind something. You can line of sight behind these pillars here, or you can line of sight behind these bits of metal on the sides of the wall here. You just want to make sure you do that, or you can, you can Cloak of Shadows, anti-magic shell, all that good stuff, immunity if you want to, but it does hurt quite a bit, especially if it's bolstering. They'll just bolster one of them, and then one of them will probably one-shot you. So we're just going to walk past all this, nice easy shroud, and because we're skipping all of these mobs, we're going to go straight to the mini-boss infiltrator right here with the Junkyard Dog. Now the Junkyard Dog just does a bit of a big tank and spank onto the tank with metallic jaws. That's about it. Don't really have to worry about anything else. It's all just tank damage pretty much. Zorgamax, if you're new to this channel and you don't know what Zorgamax does, he is the mini-boss of the new affix for the season. He just does 3 abilities. One is Blood Siphon that you saw. You have to beat a shield, otherwise it's going to heal a lot and then you interrupt the ability. It does the big circle of purple on the ground. If you get hit by it, your healing is reduced by a lot, and you do get a chunk of damage on you, which most likely will kill healers and DPS. And then also summons a Hypnosis Bat, which you need to stun, otherwise someone does get fully hypnotized and you have to kill them, otherwise they will become your enemy forever. Now this next boss is K.U J.O the dog. Now K.U J.O, there is a small technique here that if you played back in the day of a BFA, tanks should know this mechanic, and most people should know this mechanic, which is you can still attack the boss while it's doing its massive venting flames ability, which kind of one-shots people. So a few mechanics here. So it's going to cast a ability called Airdrop. It's going to drop a box onto the ground, as you can see by the swirl on the ground. Now the first one, from what you can see on my bigwigs here, is we're going to go Blazing Chomp, which is just an ability on the tank. This Blazing Chomp does not set ablaze the box, so tank, you can stand next to the box if you want to with the Blazing Chomp, which I'm about to do. So what you want to look at here is my positioning of the boss. Now what I'm doing is I'm placing the boss with its head behind the box long ways, and we're going to position over here. The boss is here, we're positioning here. Now watch as I move the boss around as it's positioned this way. It's going to cast Venting Flames. Now I have a weak aura which tells me when I'm in LOS, right here. Now if I'm in the dead corner right here, right up against the box, I can still at max melee range attack the boss and essentially take no damage. So all of the boys here, we're just slapping the boss, and that, if you do that as a tank every single time Venting Flames comes in, you will probably save roughly 30 seconds to a minute on this fight because of being able to continuously hit the boss during that phase. It is a lot of uptime that you're losing if you have to LOS completely every time the boss does Venting Flames. So now we're going to have a look at the new abilities now. So it's going to cast another box here. Now this is the most important part, Explosive Leap. It's going to target people with the arrow on their head, so you can see it's targeting these two guys right now. Now if you stand near a non-flamed up box or a non-heated box, if you're close enough, it will heat the box. And what happens is if the next Venting Flame goes off and there's both heated boxes, the boxes will explode after the first flames and everyone will just take damage because there's nothing to hide behind. So you need to make sure you are out of the way from these boxes and not standing anywhere near anyone else. Now also, what you will see is our rogue here goes out the furthest because he will the dog will jump to the furthest target first. So you can get a hunter, a mage, or a rogue to bait the jump, and you can invis just before it hits you. So while the dog's in midair, you can invis, and it will stop the entire ability. So not only will it not hit you, it won't jump to anyone else. Now this is most important later in the fight when it starts picking more than 2 people. Every time it jumps, it'll pick an extra person until it hits 4 to 5 people at the very end of the fight. So if you can do this every single time, so that's why having a hunter is good, because you can just feign death it every time. It is really, really helpful on not making the entire group take a ridiculous amount of damage for no reason. Now we're going to do the same thing here. Now I think this is a little bit sus, but we do end up doing it perfectly anyway. So as you can see, I'm still attacking while it's there. The essential way you want to do it is just to have like its head or like part of its tail behind the box, and then long ways attack it on the side. As long as you're in the back corner and you're nice and tight to the side, you should be okay. I do need to find that weak aura though, because I have the weak aura. I think it was from an old BFA package, but I just can't seem to find it to be able to share it. So if someone else has it and you know what it is, please put it in the comment section below. That would be helpful for everyone else, because this does like make sure that you know you're safe, because otherwise you're just kind of guessing and banking on the fact that you've positioned the boss properly, which sometimes can be detrimental to the run. It's not always 100%, you know? There could be things that go wrong. So that's pretty much the fight though, alright? That's the basic part of the fight. Again, our rogue goes over and baits it with the invis, which is great. I'm going to position the boss again. Now you're probably going to see this is a bit of a sus position. This might not be enough. So as you can see, I'm just a bit far away. I can't really get there, so I have to move back. So that positioning was a little slow from me. This is what I mean by like everything needs to be positioned perfectly before the venting flame goes off, because you can't move the boss during it. But if you can do it, you know, you're saving a lot of time. So the boss is going to die here. Perfect. So now we're going to do the conveyor belt boss. Now this gets a lot of people. A lot of people fall into the lava. Or a lot of people just, you know, just fall off in general, and you just have to wait. There's two really, really, like, annoying parts of this dungeon, which is this, and then the Zapbot maze thing, which you have to get past. There's always that one person that's a little bit slower than everyone else, and you kind of waste a lot of time there if you do take too long. So all you have to do is just run along this. Now you can, if you want to be sneaky, just run along the very edge and you won't get stopped or you won't get pushed back. You just got to be really careful, because you can fall off very easily. Now there's a button to the left here. Just whoever's comes first, press that button so then these flames on the side stop coming out. As you can see, there's smoke coming out of it because it's stopped. The easiest way to do this with the group though is just have a warlock on this bottom part here, and then they can portal or lock gate from here all the way up here, and you guys can just make it straight away. Warriors can leap, hunters can, sorry, not hunters, sorry. Rogues can jump over here as well, and you know, bunch of other classes can do any kind of leap or any kind of, you know, harpoon or something like that can get there. Pretty sure hunters need to harpoon a target, so I don't think they can do it. So we're going to come over here. You're going to have an Alarmo bot here, which you need to kill, which has already been done because I was a bit slow. You're going to grab all these mobs. You got Tinkerers, you got Guards, you got the Defender over there, which turns into an Infiltrator. All you have to interrupt here really is Giga Wallop, which is just the two Tinkerers are going to be doing. Now this part as well, the main event, the anti-personnel squirrel. Now this squirrel does a massive AoE. It will one-shot you if you get in it, so make sure you're moving out. Which, as you can see, perfect example. Right there. You need to make sure you're out of it, otherwise you will get one-shot. That's pretty much all you're going to do. For priests, guys, you can mind control. You can mind control the squirrel and use the big AoE against the mobs, and you will do a ridiculous amount of damage. Now, give it a go if you haven't already as a priest, but priests are absolutely king in this dungeon. They can use that squirrel. They can pretty much one-shot or two-shot almost all mob packs with the squirrel, which is every mob pack from here all the way to the end, pretty much. All the big packs anyway, which is really, really nice. Now, you've got the MK3 and the MK1s. You want to nuke down the MK3 because it does a ability called Short Out, which is going to do a lot of AoE damage. And it also puts this debuff, as you can see, on one person or two people. It's called Arcing Zap. It does do a lot of damage. Like, it does do a lot of damage. And it ticks for a long time. So you want to make sure that, you know, like, minimize the amount of people that are getting it. So that means you want to nuke it down. And then the third mob you're going to fight here is the Blastotron, which is just a spider. Now, you can pull this spider all the way to the back down here, and all the ranged people can stay all the way up here at max distance and just dodge the ability that comes from this guy, which is, I'm going to show you later, which is the pizza ability, which I'll explain what it is. But this one does 3 abilities. It does missiles on the floor you have to dodge, it does a frontal, which is a silence, which you have to dodge, and then it does the pizza, which pretty much it's put into quadrants, and it's going to, it puts the 4 slices, sorry, and you just have to dodge it. It's kind of faint, but you can see it. It's like right there, right there. It's just like, don't stand in the light blue. It's electricity. It's gonna shock you. It's probably gonna kill you. Just be careful. But that whole thing has a distance, so you can pull the mob over here, and the range can just sit up there and just continuously, you continuously attack instead of having to move. It's up to you how you want to play it though. I just chill in the middle. It's an easy key, there's no point. So these Detectobots, as you can see, you get hit by that, you get stunned for a little bit, and then you get ported to the beginning of the Detectobot run through. Now just be patient here. Wait for the gap, go through. Rogues, you can distract the Detectobots and keep them still if you want to. So if you see a good opening and you want to distract the mob so everyone can go through, you can do that. Here we're going to pick up this one infiltrator here while we're doing this. I'm just going to yeet right through. Now, if you're in, as you can see, this is a perfect example. If you're in this smoke screen and a Detectobot goes over you, you will not get pulled out. So you want to make sure you make to this smoke screen before this Detectobot comes along. And then when it goes past, you can just go through. Nice and easy. This one's been distracted, as you can see, by our rogue, so it's just standing there. And then we're going to pull this mob into the rest of them here. Now we've got a bunch of abilities here. You got the defense bots again, MK2, MK1's, MK3. You got another infiltrator, and you've got a tinkerer and a mechanic as well. Now the same abilities again. You've got the squirrel, you've got the giga wallop that you need to interrupt. Squirrel you have to dodge, frontals from the infiltrators, the short out from the MK3, and then the dot that you need to heal up. Now the last thing that no one's seen yet is the mechanic doing an ability called tune up, which is literally just a heal. Just interrupt the heal. So the shield generators that spawn here, don't kill them. Unless like all the mobs are just standing in it. If the mobs stand in it, they're gonna take no damage. If you stand in it, you're gonna take no damage as well. So what you wanna do is when the MK3 uses the ability short out, everyone stands in the shield to minimize the amount of damage that's happening. But remember, the squirrel still does kill you in the shield. So you gotta be careful. I've seen way too many people use the shield thinking they're gonna be safe, and then they just get killed by the squirrel and they're confused. So, as you can see, lovely Earth Elemental. I'm sure a lot of tanks love this part when the Earth Elemental just takes all of the aggro and puts them in the worst position possible. It infuriates me to no end. Blizzard, please make a tauntable toggle for Earth Elemental. Please, I beg. This has been making me mold for years. Alright, so we're just going to kill all these mobs, very, very simple, and we're going to come to probably the most yikes boss in this dungeon, which is the Machinist Garden. This one's a doozy. So once we kill all these mobs, they take a while because we've obviously lost the DPS. And yes, before you ask why the damage is so different, this is a double carry that we are doing on our stream. We do help people with their KSMs and just, getting better at the game and getting better with dungeons in general. So if you want to come along to the stream, twitch.tv/triplebs, and make sure you come and say hi. I'll be more than happy to teach you how to do dungeons and get better at the game. And if you have any questions specifically about tanks, probably, just ask away. I play all 6 tanks, and I'm happy to help you whenever. So we're going to pull the boss, we're going to lust here. Now, you've got a bunch of mechanics here. So, there's mechanics that are going to continuously get worse, which are these spinning blades here. So there's going to be constantly more blades throughout the fight. So that means this is a kind of a DPS check because there's going to be too many things going on. There's going to be fire on the ground when you kill plants. There'll be fire that spawns on the ground, and then there's going to be what's it called? Thunder swirls as well, which if you get hit by it will stun you, which you'll see in a minute because I do get stunned by one of them because it's very hard to see sometimes, depending on where it is actually positioned. Not only that, but you've also got these flame cannons. So there's going to be 3 that spawn. Now, as you can see, I'm trying to be as close to the one that's going away from me, so then the DPS can be as close to the back of the boss, as close to the back of the boss as they can, without getting hit by the other flame cannon as well. So once the plant spawns as well, you probably didn't see the first one because we killed it so quickly, but once the plant spawns, you want to make sure that you're stunning it straight away, otherwise it's just going to continuously do damage to someone, and it's just really annoying to deal with. So it's just going to spawn anywhere around the room. So you got inconspicuous plant right there, give it a good stun real quick, and we're just going to kill it straight away. Now you saw that blade go through everybody here, all the melee, and they all took about half health. 2 of them hit you, you're pretty much dead. And this does scale, so you got to be very, very careful. So we've got the fire that's spawning now because the plant's not there anymore. You've got the blades coming in, you've got the fire over here, you've got the thunder swirls as well. That'll probably come around soon, you'll probably see that. Let's have a look when I actually get stunned, because I do get stunned eventually. Right here. So this swirl is literally on top of my blue D&D, which to me was hard to see, but obviously looking back, it's pretty evident that it was there. Yeah, unfortunate. But yeah, as you can see, the further the fight goes, there's just a lot of shit going on. There's just a lot more stuff going on, and it does start to get a bit hectic after a while. So you do want to kind of kill the boss as quick as possible, so definitely save your lust for this. No matter what, if it's Fort Week or Tyrant Week, definitely have a lust for this boss at the very minimum. So we are going to end up killing it. And then we're going to move on to the double spider crawlers afterwards, which are up at the top of the ramp next to us. Oh, the paladin just got hit by 2. There you go. Night Fae Paladin as well, very interesting, but I guess it saved them this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the top one with a skull. Now, the reason why is if you kill the top, the furthest spider tank away from you when you're going to them first, it'll start the RP of the vehicle coming down to take you to the next portion of the dungeon. If you kill the first one first, it doesn't start the RP. So this can save you another 10-15 seconds just by waiting if you kill this tank first. So as you can see, we're going to kill that tank first. The vehicle's going to start coming down to the platform now, and we'll be able to jump in immediately without having to wait for it to get there. So that's a tiny increase, a decrease in needing time, but it does help overall. You know, every second counts in Mythic Plus. So if you guys didn't know that, make sure you use that later on. It's something very easy that you can switch around. So we're going to take our ride over to the next part, which is the last leg of the dungeon, going up to King Mechagon. Now you've got the defenders here, you've got a Tinkerer, and you've got 2 MK3s. Now you want to bring them all here because you do not want that MK3 with the next pack. This last pack of the dungeon is extremely deadly, especially on Fortified. So I would highly recommend that you skip that last pack. It is quite toxic to deal with. But what we're doing here is double MK3, so short outs and debuffs going out all the time. You got 2 defenders doing Chain Blade, which is just going to be a bleed on the tank, which it doesn't really do much. And I can just parry it half the time anyway. As a Blood DK, yay. And then you got your... Yeah, you've just got your standard other stuff, shield generators, you know, the squirrels coming out, explosives to kill, all the fun stuff. Now, remember, these ones this week do get bolstered, so it does get a bit sketchy if we don't kill these first, and then the heal is just blasting the heals the whole time, so it's not the most fun, but we make do. Sometimes when you die on this area and you try to release and go back to the transport that brought you here, you sometimes get forced into combat still, and you can't take it, so just be wary if you're going to release there. It does sometimes bug out and force you into combat. So this is the same stuff as before, like you've got a mechanic here with you interrupt the heals, infiltrator, defender, you know, MK3s, standard stuff. Just make sure you're interrupting all abilities, dodging the swirls on the ground. You see that squirrel's a little bit rough to see. Everybody got hit by that. That was lucky we didn't die because there was a Spirit Link totem up. But yeah, that could have killed everybody. Because that was like underneath the floor. It was a little bit tough to, I don't know, kind of see, I guess, for most people. because no one moved out of it. So now everything's overclocked as well. We didn't interrupt one of the mechanics abilities, which increases, I think, I'm pretty sure, just the attack speed of everything. So we just want to make sure we get that later on. But now all we've got is an infiltrator and 2 MK3s. Short out and arcing zap continuously going on. It's a little bit rough, but we're getting there. So the way you want to deal with this as well is on like a high fortified week or anything like that. If you want to skip this pack, you would just do all the mobs that I skipped previously, so all the slimes and the garbage mobs and all that stuff, and then you would just skip this last pack. The way you can do that is just by death skipping, so you can put a soul stone on a healer if you want, or have a shaman with Ankh, and you can just run past everything and then just die up here, and then have them res you up there if you would like. You can't invis past these because these MK3s have true sight, so they will see you if you're invisible. Or you can get a warlock with a warlock gate, and they can use their gate just about there, and then gateway all the way up here. Now you need to make sure it's up here, not down here, because if you gateway here, you'll still get in combat. You have to gateway up here. Now, I'm sure there are videos out there that show you how to do that specifically. I don't play a warlock, and neither do I run with many warlocks, so it's kind of hard to get an actual clip of how to do it. But yeah, if you know exactly where the positions are, you could probably link a video in the comments below. That'll probably help people out. But we're gonna kill those two. We're gonna get to the 100%. And we're going to go to the last boss. Now the last boss is in 2 phases. Starts off with the aerial unit and then goes into the big chunky boy, which is the big robot later on, which you can see in the thumbnail of the video. Now all this is going to do is start pulse blasting you. As a warrior, you can spell reflect this, as well as if you are a arms or fury warrior too, you can just taunt the boss before it casts a pulse blast, and you can spell reflect as well. It does a ridiculous amount of damage, something like 150k to 200k per hit, so you need to make sure that you're doing that. It is very big to reduce the time on this fight. The Giga Zap, as you saw, is going to target a player and then put a debuff on them. You can, again, immune that with an AMS, any kind of immunes, or cloak. That's going to be a mechanic on the second part of the fight as well. So whenever you get a Giga Zap, just stand still. Everyone else will go around you. It's fine. We'll go through the rest of these abilities as well. So we got these orbs here. They're going to put a swirl on the ground, so don't stand in the swirl. And they're also going to give you a direction they're going. Don't stand in the direction they're going. They will yeet you away in a random direction. So you well, not really random, but like, yeah, they will hit you, and it could be really bad in the next phase, and I'll explain why. But just don't get hit by them. It does quite a lot of damage. You're already taking quite a bit of damage. There's no reason to get hit by them. Just be very careful. So it's gonna get, again, just pulse blast, Giga Zap. You got dodge these things, and it's going to do an ability called takeoff as well, which you saw before, which is gonna just go up in the air. Don't stand in the swirl, obviously. Fire is bad. And then it's just going to put a beam down on it and then just start chasing someone. The person that's getting chased obviously run away. Now you can max melee range and hit this mob as well. Just don't stand directly under it in the hitbox, otherwise you will die. So as long as you're at max melee range, you can just hit it. You should be fine. I go near it, I don't really take any damage, so it's fine. Again, Giga Zap, always make sure you're standing still. Don't move around because people are trying to dodge you. You don't have to dodge people. Just make sure one person the person that with it is standing still. We're gonna get stunned here for 8 seconds, and we're gonna go into the second phase where King Mechagon is gonna jump into his big robot, and this is where the fight starts getting a little bit spicy. So we got the Giga Zap again. This time it's not just one person; it's gonna be 3 people. Now again, these balls are going to constantly be going everywhere. Now you need to remember the melee range of the boss is not up to the point where you're right next to him. You can actually go past all the way to around this ring right here. That's how big the distance is. You got this whole front area to deal with. So you can dodge the balls pretty easily. Now you don't want to be right up against the edge, because if you do get cramped up when there's a bunch of balls flying at you, you will get hit and you will get knocked off. You can fall off this platform. And if you do, you're dead, and it's just really, really annoying to deal with. So make sure you're dodging these. As you see, there's a Giga Zap. All these balls are moving as well. This man's going to stay over here. We're going to run away from him. Someone else is going to get it. They're going to stay there. We're going to run away from him. And then it's going to go back over here once again. Now, you see, I got hit there and I almost flew off. So that was just very lucky that I was just a fraction out from the boss, that it didn't actually get me. Now, as a DK, when it does recalibrate, when it does Magneto Arm, you can just Death's Advance it every single time, and you'll just stay in place. That's what I do every time, so pretty easy. You can just avoid that mechanic, but all it's going to do is just going to pull you towards the middle. If you hit the middle, you do die, and you do take a lot of damage during this phase as well, so make sure you're as far away from the middle as possible. Give the healer a break. And that's pretty much the boss. Like, it's just going to replay that. So it's going to hit 3 people with Giga Zap. It's going to recalibrate and keep moving these balls around, and then it's just going to pull you into the middle with the big suck. Those are the 3 abilities. That's literally it. So just make sure you're doing all these properly. You're not dying to anything easily avoidable. The only thing it does is just it gets a bit hectic with some of the overlaps, and it can, it can surprise you. You just want to be able to save your oh shit buttons for that, so like your immunes and your AMSs and all that stuff for it. Otherwise, it does get a bit hectic. But if you can stay alive in here, it's it's not too difficult once you understand the patterns and all that. Once you kill the Omega Buster, King Mechagon himself will come out, and you just have to kill him. It doesn't take too long, maybe like 10 seconds, if that. And he doesn't do any abilities; he just hits the tank. Pretty much it. So he'll jump out now, and you just kill King Mechagon. That's it. That is pretty much it. I hope these tips and tricks helped you guys, and I hope you guys learned something new. If you did, yeah, leave it in the comment section below. Give it a like. Guys, we got one more dungeon to do, which is going to be Iron Docks, and that'll be in the next few days. Again, I will do the Karazhan. All 3 Karazhan events from the first boss in Lower Karazhan after the Season 4 dungeon guides. If there's any other specific guides that you want me to do, please let me know. Like tank guides or specific portions of dungeons you want me to go through a bit more extensively. But besides that, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'm just going to put the full cam on again. I will see you guys in a few days, and I appreciate all the support. The Lower Karazhan video is popping off. I can see a lot of people really need to know Lower Karazhan, so I'm glad it is going really well. But yeah, thank you very much for all the support, guys. We're almost at 300 subscribers right now. The goal is 1,000, obviously, to be able to apply for YouTube Partner. So hopefully we get there soon. Yeah, till next time. Love you all. Peace out. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next one.